afternoon, Brad.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to know, if you're a citizen, do you have to get a visa to go to England?
No. A citizen of the United States?
Yes.
No.
Okay, I was telling somebody that.
No.
Okay, the next question I
Yes.
want to know, somebody filing for his wife. What kind of forms you got to submit?
Where's the wife?
The wife and 2 children.
Where's the wife? And where's the wife and 2
Right here.
children? Are they all here for...
Right here,
Okay.
in America.
And they came here on visas?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to file an I-1, each person, the wife and
Yes.
each child who's under 18, because the marriage has to occur before the child turns 18. Each one of them has to have a separate package, adjustment package filed for them. It's not enough just to list the kid on one form. So you're going to file, for each of them, you're going to file an adjustment, which is I-485, an I-130 visa petition, an I-864 affidavit of support, I-765 work permit. You're going to get a work permit for the kids anyway, even though they don't need to work, just so they can get their socials.
But they still got to get it, to get their social.
Correct. All right.
I-45, I-130,
I-765 is the work permit, and then you're going to need G325As, which are the biographic data forms, for each of the people getting their green cards, plus one additional one for the petitioner.
Okay, so that's 4 then.
Right.
That's 4 that form you got to
Correct.
get, right?
Correct.
And 3 for the work permit.
Right.
And 3
Right.
for the
I-130 and three I-864s and 3 I-45s.
You know,
Okay.
as you're telling the caller
Thank you very
about...
much, Brad.
Sure. As you're telling the caller about the forms that is required, I think they need to know as well that if the forms are not completed properly, the case get put on hold. I mean, you tell me, because I know if the information is not correct.
What happens is twofold. Okay, one, if you don't submit everything completed, a completed package with all the documents they want to see and all of the forms filled out properly, it will be returned to you. When it gets returned to you for whatever is missing, your case hits a brick wall. So when somebody says to me, when you file the paperwork, how long will it take to get my work permit? It takes 90 days. However, if you fill out the paperwork incorrectly, or you submit your documents and you're missing a document, they will send you back a notice saying you are missing X, Y, and Z. At that point, you then submit it all back. Then now you're waiting, you're back to square one. So the clock, when you submit back your documents 2 or 3 months later, it's as if you just filed your paperwork on that day. And you are now waiting 6 months for your work permit and 8 or 9 months for your green card application. And I'll even take one step further. If you screw it up so royally that it just gets denied, okay, then you have to refile again. You got to pay those filing fees all over again from scratch. And more importantly, although probably less likely now than a year ago, but a year ago, every person who got denied was being put in deportation.
So in other words, if you don't understand, get the help. You don't necessarily, have to retain an attorney, but maybe you know somebody who have knowledge about this, but you're at a disadvantage if you send these stuff up and they're not done properly, and if the package is not completely filled out in its entirety.
Correct.
So they don't accept a package unless every single piece of document is in it. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Before we go on, we're gonna end this call. I want to give a telephone number out: 1-800-522-0804. That's 1-800-522-0804. While you're here, I wanted to discuss with you.
Sure.
I think this is very important. I touched on it a little bit last week, and I also mentioned it on my Facebook page.
Okay.
Okay. There are some attorneys going around right now, and I just want to make very clear what is happening. Okay, there are some attorneys going around. I've heard them. I've seen their advertisements that they're saying that the DREAM Act has passed. Okay, the DREAM Act has not passed. As a matter of fact, I think about 10 days ago, I had 2 callers call me up on a Monday and say, "Did the DREAM Act pass?" And I said, not to my knowledge. Congress doesn't work over the weekend, and I didn't follow any immigration news over the weekend, so from that Friday to Monday, I didn't expect anything to happen. But the DREAM Act has not passed.
Unless there was a separate vote than the one that I saw a couple months ago.
Correct.
And on that vote, they voted against it.
Correct. That was about a year ago.
That's correct,
right.
yeah.
Okay, so what has passed is this. Okay, but there are lawyers going out there saying the DREAM Act passed, come see me. Okay, the DREAM Act is not passed. Congress has not passed any law. What has happened is President Obama has made a presidential proclamation, executive order, whatever you want to call it. Okay, it's called an executive order, actually. And the executive order says that I am instructing, as the President of the United States, I am instructing the Immigration Service to make the lowest priority for deportation those children who otherwise would have qualified for the DREAM Act but didn't.
Exactly.
Okay, that is a far cry from saying the DREAM Act passed.
And I guess the executive order is based on the fact that these children really did not commit a crime on their own. Their parents brought them here.
Correct. You know, and just like, you know, listen, I'm no fan of Rick Perry, you know, the Republican president, but he happened to have said something very, very smart.
I was saying that to my girlfriend the other day. He says they're heartless. I think he's right.
But not only is he heartless, but they're stupid. Okay? Because what are you going to do? You're going to have an entire generation of uneducated people that now the American people have to take care of?
That can't contribute taxes, can't
anything.
Work, can't do it. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. But educate them.
It's the worst piece of thing I've seen happen in this country.
So, you know, listen, I'm no fan of what he has to say, and there's a lot of things I'm against, but he happened to have touched on some, and he's right. And he's right. And the reason he's right is because he's the governor of Texas that has a lot of immigrants in Texas. The people who are always anti-immigration are like the people from North Dakota who's never seen an immigrant in their life. Okay? Exactly. Immigrants aren't even affecting them, and they're up in arms, get rid of the immigrants. Okay? But nevertheless, what I want to make clear, we're totally jumping off the subject, but you always have something intelligent to say, so that's why I'll bring it up, is the DREAM Act has not passed. All that's happening is if you are a student or you're a child who would have otherwise been eligible for the DREAM Act, and God forbid you get put in deportation, based on Obama's executive order, all otherwise remaining equal, meaning you don't have a criminal record or anything else, the Immigration Service is not supposed to enforce your deportation. It's supposed to drop your deportation hearing and give you a work permit.
Exactly.
Okay, that doesn't mean I was eligible for the DREAM Act. I'm going to go to this lawyer now who's going to put me in deportation so I can get this work permit. Because you know what's going to happen? We don't know whether President Obama is going to be president next year.
Precisely.
Okay? We don't know whether he's going to win or not. Maybe if the economy turns around, he's going to win in a landslide. But with 10% unemployment, you don't know. And if there's another president, the next president may very well say executive order number whatever is no longer. We're going to deport all these people.
And you're making specific reference to a Republican president.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So they may rescind that executive order.
Like they were going to rescind many other things.
Right. So all of a sudden, you went to this lawyer who says, let's put you in deportation. You'll get a work permit. Guess what? You may not be able to renew it next year. You're betting that Obama's going to be the president. That's what you're betting. And then for these lawyers, I heard a lawyer on the radio get on and say, DREAM Act passed, come see me, I'm going to get your work permit. That's not true.
It didn't pass.
It didn't pass.
Right.
Okay, now, client comes to me, they're in deportation. They have no else to do. I'm going to tell them, we're going to go after this, you know, what?
This provision.
This provision.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to place somebody in deportation.
With the uncertainty hanging over their head.
Exactly. That would be silly. So I just wanted to make that very, very clear. 1-800-522-0804. That is the number you're going to call. You're just going to schedule a consultation with me. Yes.
And Brad, if you could take 10 seconds and just explain to the listening audience what exactly is the DREAM Act. Some people are listening to us.
Sure, you happen to be right.
What is the DREAM Act?
The DREAM Act is a bill that's been tried to be passed mostly by the Democrats, but some moderate Republicans. Even McCain was in favor of it at one point in time until he had to, you know, get the Republican nomination. And what it says is it recognizes the fact that children who came here, who are here illegally, did not decide to come here on their own. They were brought here by somebody else, and they shouldn't be punished. And basically, they are as American as I am, who was born here. I don't really see a difference between myself, who was born here, and a kid who comes here when he's 4 or 5 years old.
Or two.
Or even as a baby. Okay? Because my first remembrance is kindergarten anyway. I don't remember anything prior to kindergarten. And they have the same remembrances as me. Remembrances is, this is your country. And now they grow up and they find out when they go to college, they can't go to college. They can't get a job.
Can't get a driver's license.
Can't get a driver's license. Doesn't have a social security number. So what the GMAC says is those kids who are here for long periods of time, who are educated here, who came here under 16, if they go to college for 2 years or join the military for 2 years,
no criminal record,
we're going to give you a green card.
Yep.
We're going to give you a green card.